Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the College Sports Forum here on YouTube or TikTok or wherever you're listening to this video. Thank you guys for joining us for another video. We got a little short one here for you today. The college basketball season has officially wrapped up. The Michigan Wolverines are your 2026 March Madness national champions. So congratulations to Michigan and the Wolverines and all those people involved. Dusty May, the head coach, second-year head coach, getting a chip under his belt. That is quite impressive. That's football and basketball that we've both of those has been a second-year head coach to win a national title. So very, very impressive for Dusty May. Very impressive for Michigan. I think it's 40-something years since they've won a title. So congratulations to Michigan. We're going to get into that game. We're going to break that game down a little bit. Game against UConn really broke a streak for Dan Hurley there. Dan Hurley was looking for his third title in 3 years and came up just a touch short. Nothing to be ashamed of there. I was on the record for not being very high on UConn in this tournament, so they proved me wrong. And as much as I don't like UConn, it's impressive what Dan Hurley is doing over there. You cannot like the guy, you cannot like his antics, what he does on the court with the refs, with his just general attitude on the court. You cannot like the guy, but he's winning games and he's getting far in this tournament. I mean, he won it as a 4 seed, he won it as a 1 seed. He was an 8 seed last year and lost to the eventual national champions, and then made it to the championship game this year. So the last 2 years they've lost to the team that's won it, and then the 2 years before that they won it. So whatever you want to say about Dan Hurley and UConn, it's impressive what he's doing over there. So let's go ahead and get into that game actually. So Michigan 69, UConn 63. This was a really, really entertaining game. Unlike some of Michigan's previous games, this is the only game in the tournament that they didn't score at least 90 points. They were blowing teams out. This was their smallest margin of victory for the whole tournament. And before this, I believe it was 13 points. It might have been 17 points. It was against Alabama. It was their smallest margin of victory before this game. They were blowing people out. They beat Tennessee by 30-something. They beat Arizona by 20-something. So they were just mowing through teams. And UConn put up a fight here. Michigan several times in this game, several times, looked like they were going to pull away and do what they've been doing. And UConn just kept fighting. Even at the end, like UConn had their chances. But Michigan eventually, they hit a dagger 3 with, I believe, about a minute to go, and then I was just kind of wrote the obituary for UConn. But UConn has nothing to hang their heads about in this game. They fought valiantly in this game. This is a very good basketball game that UConn played here, and they came up just a touch short. But you know what? That's the nature of this tournament. That's the nature of playing in March Madness in the NCAA tournament. Is you're going to come up short 9 times out of 10. But yeah, it's just overall just really entertaining game. Really fun game to watch. Neither team really shot the lights out here. Both teams kind of struggled from 3. UConn more so in the second half than the first half. But overall, just a fun game to watch. And again, all props to Michigan. This very well could go down as one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time. I definitely think it's up there. If it's not the best, it's top 5 or top 3. This Michigan team, Yaxel Lindeborg and Johnson and Elliot Cadeau, this team was stacked. This team was absolutely stacked. And a lot of those guys on the court are going to go on to have very long, prosperous careers in the NBA. And this was Yaxel Lindeborg at not 100%. You could tell in the first half, not 100%. His leg was not It was not there. He even went into halftime, had an interview, said that he just didn't. He felt awful. I think was the words he used. He didn't feel like himself, and they still managed to find a way to win. So just overall, very, very impressive season altogether here by Michigan. I mean, 3 losses total on the season. Go on, win a national championship, especially this year. Winning the national championship in a year like this was very impressive with so many really good teams. I mean, you had Michigan, Arizona, Duke, Illinois, Houston. Like, all these teams were so good this year. And Michigan found themselves on top and honestly just kind of blew through everybody. I mean, they did the same thing in Vegas earlier in the year. If you guys watched the Players Era tournament, they just mow people down. It's like what I said about kill shots. Like, this team goes on runs, they score in bunches, and just this is going to go down as one of, if not the greatest college basketball teams of all time. In my personal opinion, I'd put them at number 1. I don't see, especially because with the portal and COVID years and how long these guys are playing, it's like I think a lot of people have I wouldn't call it recency bias, but let's call it NBA bias when they look at teams like those Kentucky teams with Devin Booker or Anthony Davis or just these teams that had future NBA Hall of Famers on them. You got to remember, these guys were 18, 19 years old. I mean, Devin Booker that played at Kentucky or the Anthony Davis that played at Kentucky is not the Anthony Davis or Devin Booker that we see playing in the NBA today. It's not like you just pick them up and drop them on that team. They weren't the same player. It's kind of the same argument that people give to those early 2000s Miami teams with Ed Reed and those guys. Like, yeah, those guys went on to be Hall of Famers, but they weren't that when I say they weren't that good in college, they weren't as good as they became. They weren't that good in college. They were still really good, but they weren't the same level as what they would eventually progress to. And I think that's what a lot of people have a hard time dealing with when they think about these past teams and stuff, is they see the trajectory of what these guys went on and what they eventually went on to do, and they're like, oh, they were just that good in college. Like, no. Like, if you take Devin Booker right now and you play him against his former self when he was at Kentucky, he might not even score a point. Like, it's just these guys progress so much throughout their career, and you have to account for that when you talk about these former teams. Like, Yaxel Lindenborg is 25 or 24, 25. Like, yes, of course he's better than an 18 or 19-year-old Anthony Davis at Kentucky. Of course he is. Like, it's like a 24-year-old Anthony Davis, is he as good as 24-year-old Yaxel Lindenborg? We'll never know. Maybe not. I would say probably not. But you have to account for the progression of these guys when you look at these former teams. You can't just be like, oh, well, they're a Hall of Famer, so obviously they're better. No, that's not how you do it. I think this Michigan team is the greatest team of all time. I think they showed that all throughout the year. They showed that in Vegas. They showed that in Indianapolis. They showed that in Chicago. This Michigan team is touched by nobody, I don't think. So yeah, that's my soapbox. I'm sorry to go on a rant there for a second, but let's get into some transfer portal news. Transfer portal is hot right now. A lot of guys in the portal, a lot of teams losing a ton of guys. We'll go through a list here of just some key targets that I pulled from On3. First guy we're going to talk about is John Blackwell from Wisconsin, 6'4", 175-pound guard, 19 points per game, shot 43% from the field, averaged about 34 minutes a game. You got Rob Wright III from BYU. He's 6'1", 183, another guard, about 18 points per game, 47% from the field. He averaged about 35 minutes a game. And then my guy, if you guys know anything about this channel and you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I love this guy, PJ Haggerty at Kansas State, 6'4", 195, point guard, averaged 23 points per game, shot 49% from the field, and averaged 35 minutes a game. This guy is going to do damage at whatever school he goes to. I've loved this kid since high school. He was a 4-star coming out of high school. He might have been a 5-star coming out of high school. I'm not sure. He's rated as a 4-star in the portal right now. This guy's going to do damage wherever he goes. I love this kid, and really hope he comes to Tennessee. But we got Juke Harris at Wake Forest, 6'7", 200-pound guard, 21 points per game, 47% from the field, average about 35 minutes a game. Yeah, just really big for a guard. And not to mention, this guy has an all-time name, Juke Harris. We occasionally will see these guys come in with just some all-time names, and Juke Harris is just a crazy name for an athlete. But Terrence Hill Jr. from VCU, anybody who watched that VCU versus North Carolina game should know who this guy is. 34 points against North Carolina, knocked him out in the first round. Coming from VCU, 6'3", 180 guard, averaged about 15 points per game, 47% for the field, and then averaged about 25 minutes. Not the same comparable numbers as some of these other guys, only 15 points per game. Still shot about 47% from the field, though, and then only averaged about 25 minutes a game. So obviously you guys can see, outside of Terrence Hill Jr., he's only averaging about 25 minutes. I think his motivation might be a combination of money and playing time. But as you can see, like 34 minutes, 35 minutes, 35 minutes, 35 minutes. These guys aren't leaving these programs because they're not getting playing time. These guys are leaving these programs because bread, because money, basically. That's kind of like what we're seeing with Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee has 6 outgoing transfers that played significant minutes. Amari Evans, Jalen Carey, Bishop Boswell, J.P. Estrella, Cade Phillips, and then you got Clarence Basamba. He didn't really play any. Cade Phillips was injured for a majority of the year. But these top 4 guys, Amari, Jalen, Bishop, J.P., these guys played meaningful minutes for Tennessee, and they're transferring out. Even Jalen Carey's on the record saying that he wanted to stay at Tennessee. But they're getting more money elsewhere. You can't fault the kid. I mean, J.P. Estrella has multiple $3 million+ offers from other schools, and I know for a fact Tennessee's not offering him anywhere close to that, and I wouldn't. He's not a $3 million player in my opinion. And then Jalen Carey, I know for a fact he asked Rick Barnes, the coach of Tennessee, for almost $2 million. And in no world is that kid worth $2 million. I don't care how you slice it. There's no way I'm paying that kid $2 million. Would I like to have him on my team? Absolutely. Am I going to pay him $2 million to play for me? No. I'm just not going to do that. We know Tennessee's mindset going into this portal season, and they're going to pay their we're not afraid to pay our players. We're going to pay our players, but we're not going to overpay for our players because we've done that before and we've seen how it bit us. So yeah, Tennessee's got as of right now, Tennessee has the highest ranked portal class, according to 24/7 Sports, and that's just because we have the one transfer from Belmont. We have a 4-star transfer from Belmont. This kid shooting ability is insane. I've never seen anything like it, but I expect that to change. I hope we stay at the number 1 ranked portal team when the transfer portal window closes. I hope we do, but as of right now, that's kind of, take that with a grain of salt. We only have 1 commit. The team behind us is Syracuse with 2 commits. So, again, take the rankings there with a grain of salt. But yeah, there's multiple teams in Tennessee's position. I believe Tennessee right now has 3 returning players, and then you add in the transfers. That's 4 players on our roster right now. We did have that number might be 5 now because news broke a little bit earlier today that Troy Henderson was withdrawing his name from the portal. He's another guard that didn't contribute a ton this year, but again, he was only a freshman, so I believe in the future he could be a key contributing guy. But there's a lot of teams in Tennessee's position that are just gonna have to completely rebuild their roster, and I don't think that's a bad thing, especially with the portal and how much money some of these teams have. Like, that's what Michigan did. All these guys for Michigan's championship run team, Yaxel, Cadeau, Johnson, all those guys were transfers, and I don't know if any of those were I don't know if any of their key contributors were high school recruits. Some of them might have been, but again, Dusty May's only been there 2 years, so he had to work, and he did really good work in the portal, and we've seen that just because you have to replace an entire team with transfers is not necessarily a bad thing. I'd say a majority of, outside of Houston maybe, or Michigan State, a lot of these really high-level teams are portal. They portal 4 or 5 guys in every single year. So obviously you want like a couple keystone guys that have been with your program for a while and committed to your program out of high school, but with like, if you've got guys sitting in the portal and you got kids there like PJ Haggerty or Rob Wright or Bryson Tiller or John Blackwell, like you'd like to have those guys on your team, regardless of what you think of the portal does to the team's culture or not. You always are gonna if you got a 5-star at your doorstep knocking on the door being like, I want to play for your team, you're gonna offer him a spot on your team. If you don't, you look like Dabo Swinney, and you are on the doorstep of getting fired at your own program that you won a national title at. So yeah, I mean, in this era of basketball, like it or not like it, that's how it is now, and you have to play the game or you're going to get left behind, i.e. Clemson. Look at Clemson. Look at these teams that don't use the portal. I mean, these look at these teams that don't use the portal, historic teams that are just sitting on their hands and not wanting to do anything about it. And then look at these teams that are using the portal. These teams that are winning national titles that are unprecedented. I mean, Indiana winning a title in football. If you told somebody that 10 years ago, they would have laughed you out of the room. And now look at them. Indiana has one of, if not the most dominant, had the dominant program in college football. So, like the portal or not, it's the way it is now. And you can sit and scream and cry about it all you want, but it's not going to change anything. And if you like the sport of college basketball, this is just something you're going to have to get used to. Do I wish there were more restrictions on it for guys transferring 4 or 5 times? Yeah, of course I do. I mean, like, just example, PJ Haggerty, K-State was not his first school. He was Memphis, now he's at K-State, now he's transferring again. And then you got a kid at South Carolina who transferred to Ohio State, then transferred back to South Carolina, then transferred to Ohio State again, then back to South Carolina again and graduated. Like, I don't think anybody should be doing that. In a perfect world, in my world, you'd get 1 free transfer, you'd get 1 without penalty, and then you get 1 after you graduate. And then if your coach leaves, obviously, you get a transfer then. And then if you do anything outside of that, you have to sit a year. You need to establish some kind of regulatory system that keeps these kids just from going boom to boom to boom to boom to boom. Like Diabate. He transferred into Kentucky. He's transferring out again. Like Jalen Carey came from Vanderbilt. Now he's transferring out of Tennessee. I don't think guys should be able to hip hop around everywhere 3-4 times in their career. I just don't think that should be allowed. But yeah, again, another soapbox for me. Sorry for ranting twice in this video. But it's my channel. I can do what I want. That kind of wraps it up for today. I'm going to try to get going forward, at least 2 videos out per week. Basketball's wrapped now, so we will be moving into college baseball. We're in the thick of conference play. It's not been the most exciting for me because Tennessee blows right now. We're not playing very well. We got swept by Vandy. We lost to LSU in a series. Not to mention the way we lost to them was in extras, and they scored 10 runs in the top of the 12th. So, yeah, that was not fun for me. So I'm gonna bite my tongue or whatever. I'm gonna force myself to cover college baseball for you guys. So if college baseball is something you're interested in, stay tuned here. We're gonna get some videos out on that this week. A lot of spring practices are wrapping up. Football, on the football side of things, I know Tennessee's got their spring game coming up this Saturday. I know a lot of other schools do as well, so we'll get into that. We'll get into some potential future lineups for some of these college football teams going into next season. We'll see who's hopeful, who's not. Look at some schedules, predict some records, and we'll have a good time. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about, even though the basketball season's over. So don't skip out. Keep watching, keep listening. Whatever you do, keep coming back because we got some good stuff coming for you guys. So appreciate y'all watching. And I'll see you next time.